everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Agency Insider podcast by the team at Promo Republic. It's Dylan Hay here. I'm super excited today to be joined by Mr. Dan Knowlton. Now, Dan has been speaking a lot on the social media stage. I saw him at Social Media Marketing World this year. Some of you guys would have seen that video interview that we did. And Dan is also one of the founders of a really exciting digital marketing agency as well. So Dan, thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate it. No worries. Maybe you could just let people know a little bit about kind of yourself and your agency real quick before we dive straight into today's topic.
Sure. So my name's Dan Knowlton. I run a digital and social media marketing agency called KPS Digital Marketing with my brother Lloyd. We're based in the southeast of the UK in a place called Kent. We work with a number of different brands, organisations to help them generate more leads, sales from their online marketing, mainly kind of focused around video and social. And we do that as a standalone service where companies can outsource that to us. And we also do a number of different training sessions, masterclasses, strategy development, the whole shebang.
Awesome. Yeah. And I've seen like some of the projects you guys have been working on have been really, really cool. And I know, like, as I said in the intro, you've done a lot of speaking at events like Social Media Marketing World and stuff like that too. So I thought today we could talk about and share some tips with everybody around kind of agency growth strategies, I guess. Like, I know when we had a conversation a few months back, you shared with us that there isn't like one silver bullet for growing your agency or growing your business, and there's not just one like real quick tip, which is cool. I think that's really good advice, because a lot of the time people are looking for that one small change they can implement that's going to really help them. And like, yeah, sometimes there are small things, but really it's the consistency of lots of small actions that push that forward, right? So today I thought maybe we could expand on that a little bit more, because I know when we spoke at Social Media Marketing World, there were like 3 or 4 ideas that you were sharing with me about what you're doing right now to push your agency forward and stuff like that. I know just before we started recording, we were talking about kind of the growth trajectory for you and your business. I know you're moving into like a new office fairly soon, and you've seen some really great growth over the last couple of years since we've known each other. Like, what do you attribute that growth to, first of all? Like, why do you think you guys have been able to bring on the exciting customers that you have and like get to the point where you are today?
Yeah, really good question. I think something that ties it all in together, really, and after our conversation, I thought about this a lot, because I didn't give a definitive answer as to what you can actually do. And something that I've been speaking recently at events about a lot as well is personal branding. Yeah. Because when we look at, prior to this, in our previous interview, I said that you need to do a number of different things consistently to build an agency and build that trust to generate those bigger clients. And I think looking back, the one thing we've done really well is personal branding, is building a personal brand, and building a personal brand that credible people who work for brands who we want to bring on as clients trust. And something else that's been key to that is patience as well. I know patience is kind of a common thing to talk about, but just for us, probably only in the last year and a half, we've really been working with much bigger, more credible clients. It's taken that slog of work the years before to work with smaller businesses to build that experience up to get to where we are.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I know, as you said, everyone is like, a lot of people are using the patience term a lot right now. I haven't been like watching much Gary Vee for the last like 6 or 12 months. And then like the last week I've seen a few of his videos come up, and I'm back into the whole like, okay, just be patient, like all this kind of stuff. But like, I think you and your brother Lloyd are like perfect examples of like, you guys have been with the personal branding, like with the video content that you do, with the blog content, like your stuff on Twitter, like everything like this, like you've been slogging away at that for a long time, right? Like I think when we first came into contact, it was when I was working at Leadfeeder, which was like 2 years ago almost. And it was because of the content that I'd seen you like churning out and putting out there. And that was how we initially found you. So it's really interesting that you say that. Like, I think the personal branding element for me and my agency, like we're only a year in, so we haven't been around for as long as you guys, but like just in that year, I've been able to see some level of like what people would class as success, right? Like a good first year. And that has like solely been down to the personal brand. Like we don't have an agency website just yet. Like that's something we're working on right now, which will be ready in a few weeks. And like only now are we starting to take those more I guess like serious agency steps, the way that I look at them, right? And building out the agency brand itself, everything to now has been off the back of my personal brand. And I think that helps so much, even when you're like going on to a potential call or a call with a potential new client, right? If they've seen something valuable that you've written and that you've shared, and all of that over time really starts to build up. If you were to like start again right now, and if you were to like start building your agency from the beginning today, like personal branding is such a wide topic. Like, where would you focus first? I know you guys have seen a lot of success with video content, like more recently.
Yeah.
Like, what would be your kind of like go-to if you start from scratch?
So first of all, I'd focus on getting good at something. Before kind of trying to go out there and say, hey, I'm a personal brand, I focus on conversion, or I focus on accountancy or whatever. First of all, get good at something to be able to build a personal brand around. And you can build that personal brand whilst you're still learning and getting better at that thing. But you need to decide what that definitive thing is so that you can start actually doing it. So either learn by doing courses and applying what you've learned, learn by online content. There's loads of content out there. You know, whatever it is you need to do to learn, you know, suck in all of that information and then apply it, whatever it is, so that you can learn by doing. So that's the first thing. The second thing, I guess looking back, I wish I would have had more of an emphasis on speaking at events early on.
Okay.
I just think, you know, yes, video content and building your brand on social, but just the power of getting good at communicating to other human beings. Because this is where personal brand comes in, is I truly believe that your personal brand is the number one most important thing that can influence your success in life. And that's a big kind of sweeping statement. But if you think about however you judge success, if it's wealth, health, happiness, being the best family member in the world, whatever it is, the one thing that ties all that in together is you need to be good at communicating your ideas to other human beings. You can't do it alone. Like, if you want to build the biggest company in the world, you need to convince customers and other people to work for you. If you want to be the best family member in the world, you need to convince a partner to have a child with you, whatever. But you need to be good at convincing other human beings of your ideas. And your personal brand is the mechanism that communicates those ideas to the outside world. And speaking, for me, has been one of the best ways to learn how to get good at communicating with other human beings, because you're put under a lot of pressure to deliver, and it's well scary, but it makes you learn really quickly and how to communicate in an effective way. So
yeah,
I'd say
I think that's a really interesting point. Like, I don't do as much speaking as you, but like, it's something I started over the last year or two. Like, I had a speaking engagement last Friday, and I remember that like a year ago I would have been terrified going into that. Whereas now that I've had some more of that practice, I'm not as nervous anymore. I still get a bit nervous, but off the back of the speaking thing, like one thing that I found really valuable, aside from the like teaching other people and sharing value with other people, is also a really good way for you to learn how much you actually know too, right? Like, if you can stand on a stage in front of a load of people and share stuff with them, that's a good test that, okay, now I really do know what I'm talking about. But I have found through speaking, I'm keen to hear your experience about this too. Like, I haven't necessarily signed a load of clients directly from the speaking. Like, I can think of in the last like 12 months, maybe one client that I've landed as a direct result of, they saw me speak, they were in the room, and we started working with them afterwards. But where I've seen the most benefit is like making sure we have a photographer or a videographer there, and like creating content off the back of the speaking engagement and using that as like a positioning standpoint, right? Like, is that the similar kind of strategy that you will utilize too? Like, is it more a kind of brand building focus?
I think that's definitely a key point, and it's really important to do that. I'd say it's important to think of the bigger picture here. So you had a speaking engagement, and you may not have suddenly had 10 people come up to you and say, I want to work with you. But if we think of the broader picture of kind of the life cycle of that customer journey of discovering who you are through seeing you at that speaking engagement, and then over a period of time, I'm sure you understand how a traditional funnel works. They're going to build that trust with you through different marketing touch points, through seeing you online, through seeing you speak at other events, through listening to your podcast, through seeing you collaborate with content with other people. There's all of these things that come together. And from our experience, because we've been doing this for 4.5 years now, people who watched me speak when I was rubbish at speaking like 4 years ago, have connected with us on social and has followed that journey. And one of our biggest clients now, we asked the social media manager who contacted us, how he discovered us. And he said 3.5 years ago, he saw me speak or 4 years ago. And then he's followed that journey across social, seen the content we've been producing. And now he's popped out the end as a converted customer who's provides some of the biggest revenue for our agency. So I think it's important to understand that bigger picture of that speaking is in that kind of awareness stage, and also it can be in the kind of trust building stage if you're good at it to communicate that you know what you're talking about. But it's the long game. Ultimately, it's that long-term strategy.
And I think one thing that you said that's really important too is like, off the back of the speaking, what you do after that. Like you said, he's then been following your story and your content on social. I think that's one mistake, that there are so many digital marketing agencies or social media agencies that then aren't active on social themselves and aren't doing things that they would do for their clients. And I think that's like a huge tip in itself, is like actually do what you preach about and you're going to do for your clients. Because that's something that I know you guys do.
Definitely.
I'm always seeing your stuff everywhere.
But it's kind of difficult to bite that bullet, to think that you do have to have that patience, because yes, they've seen you speak, and you actually sometimes you have to wait around for 3 or 4 years before they convert. It's kind of like, is this actually going to happen? But just having faith in it's seeing the small steps of progress that make you believe in yourself and think, you know what, this is going to work, and seeing those small kind of progressive steps to think, oh, I landed a bigger client, they're more credible, we've done a better job, and kind of keep fighting to learn and improve what you're doing, and that kind of give you that guidance as to, this is the right thing we're doing, I should be patient.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like definitely long-term strategy, right? But that's the stuff that will bring in the best returns from the clients that you work with, the higher value ones, the ones that are better to work with. Like if someone's just starting out and they need to get really, really scrappy and bring on their first client, like it might not come from a speaking engagement, but that's not saying that they shouldn't be doing that. And I think it is now. I know some people will be nervous about speaking and won't know where to start, but there are so many easy ways that you can get yourself in front of people initially, whether it's like going through all of the meetup listings in your area and seeing which small events are on and messaging them, asking them if you can speak there. That's one thing that I first did.
And I think one more thing just to add to that, Dylan, is the whole relationship building piece. So even if you're not ready to speak now, go to events and start building relationships, have conversations with people, start to nurture those relationships, especially with people like event organizers and people at events, and just have that selfless mentality that you're not there to try and sell them something, you're there to make friends with people. Because if you have that mentality, that I had a shift in mentality from going from thinking I need to try and sell people stuff to I need to make friends with people and build my network. And that had a huge impact on the clients that we were converting, because we'd actually converting people who we were already friends with, so that trust was already built.
Yeah, I think collaboration is so important with that kind of stuff too, right? Because like the reason you were speaking at Social Media Marketing World, I wasn't speaking there, but I want to one day, and that's why I came out and like put together content, interviewing people. Like it's fun for me to do. I love speaking to people. I love getting their advice, but it's also valuable for the people that are gonna watch it and use it. And there's no like pitch from me whilst I'm there. I'm not like making content and pitching to social media and saying, hey, you have to let me speak. Like it's all about collaboration with different people. And I think that's something, even agency owners that are first starting out, sometimes they'll get worried about like collaborating with other people that they might see as like competition and stuff like that. And I think that's just a mindset shift that they need.
And it's that proactive mentality that you've got that will make you successful, because you're actively going out there, putting your neck on the line to reach out to people and say, hey, let's create content and things. A lot of people are too scared or too frightened to do that. So it's important to have that kind of proactive mentality of what could you be doing that other people are probably too shy or too scared or too, nervous to do.
I think that's a really good tip when it comes to any kind of lead generation or trying to grow your agency business too. Like, of course, it is scary sometimes, whether it's to reach out to someone to speak at an event, to interview someone, whether it's sending that like cold email or making that phone call, going to that event. But the thing that will help you grow faster, or like help you grow faster than others, is through taking those steps that you're a bit nervous about taking, but actually going through and doing them. So I think that's a really valuable and like good note to round this up onto, is like ultimately, of course, it comes with consistency, but it also comes with like taking action. Because if you're consistently not taking any action and not like pushing yourself, then you're not going to get anywhere, right?
No.
So I think that's a really good point to end on. Dan, thanks for the time today, for sharing that advice with us. If people, like, I know it's fairly easy to find you, but is there anything or anywhere in particular that people should go if they want to learn a bit more about you and what you guys are up to, what you're working on?
Yeah, sure. So our website, kpsdigitalmarketing.co.uk, but we're actually running our first LinkedIn masterclass, which you should check out. That's going to be at our brand new offices in Kent. I know probably not all the listeners are going to be local, but you can get there on the link bit.ly/LinkedIn Kent, and you'll see it there.
Awesome. Cool. Is that going to be like, so that's an in-person event. Are you going to be like
Yes.
recording it and distributing it afterwards, or are you not decided about that yet?
We've got some plans in the pipeline to do something like that, potentially some kind of online course or something, but we'll see. We're going to see how it goes.
Awesome. Cool. Well, Dan, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time today.
Cheers, Dylan. Thanks for having me.